Welcome to CAPECAST. What's up, gentlemen? How are you doing this evening?
Oh, doing great.
How
are you?
Long. It's been so long.
Where's Captain Marvel?
Yeah, Britt's running a little late tonight, so me and Brandon are gonna take the opportunity to talk a little bit, a little bit of Zack Snyder.
Oh, okay.
Because why not?
Imagine that.
Oh, there's Britt.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Coming out.
Howdy.
Switchy.
What is up?
We were just talking DC.
How's it going?
Yeah,
good.
You saved Chris from us having to talk about, or from us talking about Zack Snyder again for another 20 minutes.
Oh man. I
think they like him.
Yeah.
Have you
So
seen
how you doing
300?
today, Britt?
It's going.
It's a good one.
It's going good.
Cool.
So just getting caught up, running in a little late, but
you're good.
We're here.
We just started. So yeah, for folks who are just tuning in or who have never tuned in before, this is CAPECAST. We are in the middle of a kind of episode by episode breakdown of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We also have another series going on right now where we are reviewing Zack Snyder's Justice League part by part. We will actually have the third part up tomorrow at some point, so definitely check that out. And also give us a follow on Twitter at CAPECAST Show if you love all things geek. We pretty much live on there. So looks like your boo's watching Chris.
Oh, we have a wave. See, without my glasses on and me sitting back from the monitor, I just see a shape. But now, do that hand wave.
Crazy how that works. All right. So tonight we are going to be reviewing the fourth episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I'm going to kind of hand the reins over to our
Brandon.
Yeah.
I would love to do that, actually. And the Winter Soldier.
Right.
He's going to watch
it. Watch the episode.
The Russo brothers. It's my favorite of the Marvel movies. Recommend
this it. This is why we let Britt handle this stuff. So, Britt, I'll kind of turn it over to you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I'm curious, going around the room. We asked the question on each episode, but I know on our last review we looked at the first 3 episodes. And you guys are kind of, I wouldn't say necessarily down on it, but it wasn't sticking. And we saw that with WandaVision, but I'm curious, did this episode change anything? You guys a little bit more into it. So let's kind of start up there, and we'll start with Brandon. I'm assuming you're caught up. You've seen all 4 episodes now. What's your thoughts on it so far? Any better?
It's better. It's not appointment TV, in my opinion. It's just something to watch. It's not something that I'm like, besides just the innate nature of this Marvel stuff being like, the flavor of the week, gotta be in the know to talk about it or whatever. You gotta watch it to continue the Marvel story. I mean, it's part of it. So that's the only hook for me. I think we may have talked about this previously. I'm not a big Falcon fan. Don't really care about his character. I don't really think he has much of a character. Bucky, I do like, but again, if you don't have Bucky with long hair and you don't have that mask, he's a little lackluster. And I think Ryan mentioned that the old arm is better than this Wakanda arm, and I agree. So
you like the nice and shiny silver, not the.
It's every week I get on this show with these Scrooges.
But I'm not. Here's the thing. I don't think it's bad. It's just not again, I think I said this last week. Zack Snyder has ruined every kind of superhero outing for me now.
That's so true.
It's just nothing's going to compare. I wish it could, but it's a high bar. I'm sorry. So
No worries.
Up
no
your
worries.
game, Marvel.
So how about you, Ryan? What are you thinking? What are you thinking now?
This was definitely the best episode for me so far. I appreciated finally seeing. Well, I guess before we,
I'll echo that sentiment. I do think this is the best episode so far. I think this is, it's good. It's a good episode, especially in comparison to the last three.
Brandon, you already had your initial thoughts. All right.
I didn't want to come across as like, I'm just trying not to come across as a Debbie Downer, so to speak, but
doing great.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Ryan.
I'm going to throw this up there so everybody knows from here on out, everything we're talking about is full on spoilers. So,
Spoilers!
Hey, spoilers. I appreciated the movement and the John Walker side of things in this episode. I kind of like felt like I was kind of moving at a snail's pace a little bit. The first three episodes.
It was and it wasn't. Like, as far as his character is concerned, it's like they kind of like escalated it real quickly that he's like not to be trusted or a bad guy or whatever. And then they pulled it back a little bit. And then, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess just the last couple episodes it kind of
guy.
dragged with me on. Yeah. Had kind of dragged with me in that regard. I appreciated the backstory on with Bucky and kind of how he got over the I don't know what is it called, the like the Winter Soldier programming, is that the way to phrase it?
Yeah, I mean that was pretty much what it was. Hydra brainwashed him.
Yeah.
Certain keywords. So think of like hypnosis essentially.
Yeah.
So saying the keywords can make them do whatever you want.
Right. So yeah, I will also say though, I'm like, I'm a little over the whole flag smashers thing, how they're kind of like going, and I get that they're trying to create like be the ultimate heroes, like bringing these people back from the darkness. But like these people are like cold-blooded murdering innocent people. And I'm just like, and Falcon's having a sit down with the chick, like trying to, yeah. I don't know. I'm just kind of, maybe I'm a little more cold-blooded than Marvel's taste. I don't know, but anyways, yeah. So that's kind of something that irked me about the episode, but I did appreciate the John Walker stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes.
Yeah. So how about you, Chris?
Similar to them, I appreciate we're moving forward with John Walker. I'd like to see him more at the forefront as kind of a villain, because I'm really over the flag smasher thing. Like, I just don't care. I'm uninterested. And I kind of come to hate Sam with his attitude towards them. Especially like Ryan was saying, the timing was like, oh, what's the status? Well, 11 injured and 3 dead. Oh, she's just a kid. It was like, what? Like, it was like almost a direct follow-up. I love Baron Zemo and his call out of they are supremacists. And I find that I must be a villain in real life because I am 100% on his team and agree with what he said. Team Zemo. I'm a bad guy now. I like kind of the shift in villain. I hope we just kind of stay there. And if they just forget about this flag smashers, they just write them out and we get no explanation, I wouldn't care. I'm so over them.
Oh, I would care, Chris. I need punishment.
I would like the punishment. I would like the justice. Maybe Bucky will grow his hair out and do it, and that would be cool. But it was nice seeing,
it just strains really hard.
Yeah, it's almost like a Super Saiyan thing you could do.
Yeah.
But opening with him as Winter Soldier from the movie, that was pretty strong because it was from a good movie. And then I don't know about you guys, but I kept meaning to, and I never got around to it, looking up the filming locations. But being an Atlanta native, there's so many things where I'm like, are they at Soap Creek right now? Or is that Krog Tunnel? Like, there's so many little things. I'm like, I think that's my backyard. Like, especially when they're in Wakanda. At one point, I was
You
like,
look out your
"That's
window
right
and there's a
outside of
film crew
Atlanta.
out
That's
there.
not Wakanda." Yeah, there was a lot of filming locations where I'm like, I need to look that up, and I just didn't.
Yeah, you can definitely tell, like, just like foliage wise.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, kind of going into that. So diving in, you guys have mentioned it so far with, I was talking with Bucky and kind of pretty much when we start the episode, right, saying like, hey, you have 8 hours, you need to give up Zemo. And that kind of leads us into the flashback, right, of the unprogramming to kind of give you more of the backstory, right? Because I feel like when we saw her at the ending of the episode before, it was kind of like, okay, well, yeah, but it's not the main one, right? Like that's what a lot of people saw. So I did like that they kind of gave her a little bit of a backstory. But kind of what I want to hint on. So with WandaVision, we got to kind of see, Elizabeth Olsen try to, be able to use different emotions and things. Like she had really good scenes towards the end, being able to show, that grief and emotion that she had. And so to me, this kind of felt like a pretty strong scene of Bucky, like, getting rid of that programming. But what are your guys' thoughts on that? Do you think that, we needed a little bit more of that? Do you think that was kind of the right amount as you look at, that deep programming of Bucky and trying that out? I know, Ryan, you're a huge Bucky fan, so I kind of want to start with you there.
So I think given the nature of how like Marvel kind of churns through storyline, like they do it well, but they don't like linger on things very long. Like they give explanations for stuff and it's on to the next thing. Like it's a very fast moving story as a whole. I felt like this was adequate for the Bucky thing. Like we got the Infinity War, we got kind of the establishing shot of him being there and like working out on that field or whatever. The White Wolf comment from Black Panther. And I will say this scene here was probably, I do really love his acting in Winter Soldier, where he's like, puts like the mouthpiece in and like like those intense moments. But other than that, I felt like this was one of his like more like well done character moment, like as far as like quality of acting. So I enjoyed it. He looks like he's like laughing in that picture.
Well, he's smiling. That's why I pulled it. I titled this "Bucky Cry, Bucky Smile."
Kind of like a Gollum thing going on.
You know what he's doing? I'll bet you he's watching the theatrical of Justice League there, and then he's watching Zack Snyder's Justice League.
They got it in there.
This is his McConaughey Interstellar moment.
Right. It's a good way to describe it.
Yeah. So that was in kind of what you're saying about the backstories and stuff. Like, again, we talked about this a little bit as we got burned, so to say, with WandaVision and kind of going into this one. What I'm going to be seeing these Disney Plus series for is just the fact that we're getting more of the backstory, more of these, pieces being filled in that maybe were kind of left out in some of the movies. So, I definitely enjoyed the fact that they, at least talked about it, hinted at it a little bit. Chris, do you have any other thoughts just around, that scene or just any of the stuff maybe they should have added within that?
Like I said before, it was a little distracting for me because I felt like we were in Atlanta and not Wakanda. It was interesting, and I saw some of the reports on this of how in the fire that they had, you could see Mephisto.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. Mephisto's always
Can't wait for that to
corner.
get paid off.
Yep, that'll be a payoff. The scene was cool. I really like Sebastian Stan and his acting, and I like the character of Bucky, and I think he was great casting for it. So it's always cool to see the callbacks and him with the long hair. But kind of an aside on Io, and I can never think of the actress's name that plays her. But last week, Ryan and Brandon kind of mentioned I was in Black Panther as an extra, and I got to do 3 days when it was a scene where like every single actor came on, and she was the only one who didn't stay in character when they weren't rolling. Everybody else would keep the accents and stay in, not so much character, but they'd keep the accents And I'm an idiot. It took me a while to realize that was the. I was like, oh, Chadwick Boseman's like from Africa. Like I didn't put it through. I was like, man, I swear to God, Martin Freeman's like British. Like what's happening? And then I realized like, oh no, they're actors, and I'm dumb. But she was the only one who would just like turn it off and on and had no problem just dropping into it. So just a little insider tidbit.
Nice.
Good to have that exclusive.
It is. I'm trying to help you guys out.
She's actually also in Wonder Woman. She is a Themysciran, I guess you would say, in the first Wonder Woman.
So crossing over in both of them. So kind of going into the next part. So I kind of want to go from there to the Flag Smashers. It sounds like, again, you guys are ready for them to kind of step back a little bit. And
keep waiting for Sauron to show up. Their hand logo everywhere.
Yeah. The hidden, unless you have the phones.
What's the main one's name? Carly? What is it?
Yeah, Carly.
Yeah, Carly.
I really hope that they don't try and push her to be like a bigger character in this universe.
Dude, no.
Yeah. There's a possibility, and we can talk about that in a little bit, of who she could be.
Shut your mouth, Britt.
I know.
Shut your mouth.
But you know, we saw kind of the whole scene of them in the graveyard, right? And her get those the fanny pack of serums that was tucked away in the grave. And you know, we got a little bit more backstory around that. We had Nico, who was the other character with Carly, pretty much saying, you know, hey, I'm a fan of Captain America when I was growing up. I always looked up to him. You know, such a really great character. And then he kind of mentions like, hey, you know, I could see you, meaning Carly, being the next, you know, Captain America, taking up that mantle. And to me, you know, I think there's a lot of foreshadowing in that statement. One foreshadowing.
Did he see it in her when she blew up all those people?
Maybe.
Is that the moment?
But I think it's foreshadowing of Sam being Captain America. Like I think, and we'll talk about it in just a second too. But I think the foreshadowing, one of just being like, hey, you're for the people. You've seen kind of what's going on out here, and you're kind of working towards that. And I think that's what we'll see in Sam. But then also foreshadowing that we'll talk about a little bit later with you know, Nico looking up to Captain America. So
yeah, there's one thing I would like to see more, like kind of explored more in this show is like
more Nico.
The whole like not like Captain like Steve Rogers never addresses himself as Captain America. Like he calls himself Steve Rogers. Like I would like to see kind of that develop more with title. Like and more about like how you know, carry yourself or whatever. So I don't know. I'd like to see that explored more with whoever
It's a nice call out with Nemo or Zemo.
Finding
Zemo.
Yeah.
Which is it, or what was this?
When he was kind of saying that there were supremacists and you could never really like, you know, pursue the serum and being a super soldier with like, you know, a good heart basically. And I think it was, I don't know, Sam or Bucky, one of them called out like, you know, we'll look at Steve and he's like, touche. But have you ever met another Steve Rogers? Like something along those lines.
Right.
Yeah.
Good point.
And I think that's kind of something that you know, we'll continue to see. And I think that was definitely one of the points to what we're going to see as, you know, John Walker continues as this Captain America, you know, a U.S. agent, whatever he's going to kind of form into after this.
All right.
Yeah, just, you know, the great of the great there. He's a great soldier. But yeah, so like, you know, that kind of leads. So again, that kind of gives us a little bit of backstory, a little bit of setup with the Flag Smashers to kind of show us that, you know, they're not all bad. And yes, they've done some pretty crazy stuff. Like I'm kind of on board with you, Chris. Like, I don't think she needed to blow up the building in the other one. And if she's not really being set up as the villain, I don't really know why they did that the last episode.
Yeah.
It made it like a hardcore point of it too. Like there were innocent people in there.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So, and I don't know if that's like, there's a potential that there's more to the story. So, and I'll touch on it in a minute, but like there's potential pieces of the storyline that they actually had to cut out of the series. And there could have been some of these storylines that maybe came off of that. So we'll kind of get into that in just a second. So it leads us into, Zemo and Sam tracking down Bucky, or not tracking down Bucky, tracking down Carly with Bucky and Sam. And so, we have the memorial service that we saw of Carly's, mentor, essentially.
Delight.
Yeah. And Sam doing the whole like counseling with Carly. Right. So it sounded like you guys weren't too fond of that, but like, what are your thoughts just on that?
I hated that conversation so much, Britt. I hated it.
You didn't like to see how he's like using, I guess, his, I don't know, powers, but like his personality.
If his intents were different, I would like it better. If his intent was like, I'm going to like catch her off guard, I can kind of, I know how to talk to someone like this and we'll bring her in. But he was just like honestly sympathizing with like, yeah, they should have died. I hate all those people. And it's good that you killed them and see your point.
The whole, like, I think the line was like, I agree with your fight, just not how you're doing it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I understand what he's trying to say, but like, you don't agree with her fight if she's doing what she's doing. Like, there's a line that you cross where like, it's not the same kind of fight. Like, I don't know. I just felt like it was too much of a stretch to create or make her this like sympathetic character, for me at least.
I just don't buy her as a leader either.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. She wasn't she in Solo as one of the bounty hunter? At the end, she was fine in that for me, but it was, I mean, you don't really see her character till the very end, and it's just kind of like a surprise reveal. In this, I just don't think she carries herself like a leader. I guess
I don't blame the actor.
Doesn't have that,
it's
right.
I think it's the character written.
Yeah,
I could see that. She's very timid with the way she's doing stuff. Right, she's not. It doesn't seem like out of the 3 or 4 of them, there doesn't really seem to be like, this is the plan and this is what we're going to do, and they're just kind of just doing whatever and seeing what happens.
Let's blow some stuff up
and threaten some kids.
Yeah. So, and kind of going to that comment about the, I agree with your fight. I just can't agree with the way you're fighting it. That's again, it's kind of one of those references back to the actual comics when Captain America is fighting the actual Flag Smasher, which is a villain. They're kind of like, instead of giving us this one villain, they're just kind of making it into more of a group. And so again, it's kind of one of those things, like we've seen it with Steve a lot, right? Like he'll take a stance even with Civil War and stuff. He takes the stance and it's like trying to figure out what's the right way of doing it without, hurting other people and stuff. So definitely, the way she's doing it is not necessarily, the right way. And I know we joked about this in the text before, but like, if she was an alien, she would have been taken down like instantly in the Avengers.
I also think if you take, kind of the character of Steve Rogers you have in your head, how do you think he would react, to her and the Flag? Like, I don't think he has that sympathy that Sam has. I think he's like, bad people attend it. Like, he's just so.
And not that he would like kill them, but like it would be like you're going to prison. Like, this wouldn't be I don't know. Yeah. Just like this whole like moral high ground thing, like trying to like bring people back. Like, I don't know. It's not Star Wars, like bringing people back to the light side and stuff. I don't know. It just doesn't fit.
Yeah. And I think they're kind of trying to play that light and dark with Zemo, right? Like I feel like like Chris is saying, like Zemo's not.
I agree with you, Chris. He's my favorite character so far. 100%.
And the thing is, like, it's weird, but like even in Civil War, like even though he didn't get a great like story arc and all of that, right? Like he did some pretty cool stuff in the movie. I feel like his plan seemed really cool, but it just happened to just perfectly line up in all these different areas that just seem a little far-fetched. But at least here, I think we're kind of seeing like how smart he is, and like he also has the right idea, just maybe not the right intentions with what he's saying as well. So as we kind of go through that, again, I think that a lot of that was just to kind of show you that, like, again, kind of that foreshadowing. I still think Sam's going to take up the shield at the end. And this is foreshadowing of him saying, like, hey, Sam is a good guy. He's trying to work through this. He's from the people of the people, you know, type Captain America, which is what everybody looks up to. It's not the fact that, you know, Steve Rogers was a great soldier. It's just the fact he's a good man type thing. And so, you know, that kind of led us right into Zemo, you know, taking down Carly with the gun. So taking her down, dropping all the vials and destroying all the vials except for one. One vial kind of escaped. But I kind of want to see what your guys' thoughts are first. So I was curious when he saw all the vials, right? There was a pause. Was he going to destroy the vials? Was he going to take the vials, right? Like, Zemo has some backstory of creating, you know, teams and things like that. But what are your thoughts on that when he kind of hesitated to destroy those vials? So I'll start with you, Chris, since Zemo is your character.
Well, Zemo's my guy. And he was just hesitating to, like, take in that moment. And he was so proud and excited to do what he thinks right. And he smashed, and he took her down. He was the only good character, only one who's tried to make a difference. And I don't know how he didn't die taking that shield to the dome.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, but it was also pre-serum. So John Walker maybe a little weak.
Oh no, we saw him hurling that thing earlier.
I know. The whole shield. So we can toss that theory out the window, Britt, that he had the serum already. All right, he was whipping that shield around.
Although I do wonder
like
if he's kind of like, what was his name in the Hulk movie? Where he's like, I think you have something else in you. Before they made a
oh man,
what's his name?
Abomination.
Yeah. Before they kind of like gave.
We got to say Apocalypse. Oh boy,
almost, Abomination. But he kind of had that line of like, it looks like you've got something else in there because they had kind of given him like the fake soldier serum. So I wonder if maybe that's something there. Not that it matters, but
I really want to see Zemo, like, because he hates it so much. I really want to see him get the serum. Like, he doesn't want it, and he gets it.
Yeah,
or like has to in order to take these guys.
Something.
Down.
Yeah, I don't know.
No. How about you, Brandon?
You've been pretty quiet up there.
What do you think of that piece? Either Zemo and or, you know, John scooping up that last serum that was kind of hiding out.
Pass.
Brandon, did you watch this episode?
I just pulled clips.
Yeah.
So
I as far as where it ended up, which is this little ditty. This is my job, guys. I showed the clips. Okay.
Yeah.
Does it look like his eye line is not looking at the serum?
A little bit,
because it
off
is
to the right,
and
maybe.
It's not. I had to move his hand over. I had to
throw
move
a
his
high
hand
pass
over.
on that bad boy, Brandon.
Yeah, I did. I had to move his hand with the serum over to make it fit in this frame. That's why he's looking out in a different direction.
That's awesome.
But no, I did like that where this is, you know, it seems to be leading with, you know, because he, you know, and later we'll get to it. John has that moment where he's like, he's fighting Dora explorers, and they kind of take him to school, or they do some work, as Britt says in the show notes.
They do.
And he's like, they weren't even super soldiers. You know, he has that little line. So. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I'm interested to see. I like it a lot. I'm interested to see how that plays out with him. Obviously, he's going to take it. But yeah.
So I mean, in kind of transitioning in that, I mean, we had the Dora Milaje jumping in there, really showing what they can do. Taking down John Walker and fighting. I mean, everybody. I mean, Bucky and even Zemo, kind of putting them at bay. And it was surprising. So, like, Bucky is a super soldier. They were able to kind of keep him in check as well. And so, with that, I mean, yeah, we definitely saw the arm. So Ryan, favorite character, Bucky. What do you think about the interaction in the scene of Bucky and AO and her taking that arm off?
I appreciated the look on his face, like, what? I at the same time though, I don't know. So I've run into this issue with his character pretty much in anything after Civil War, where like it's almost like he's lost like any kind of like instinctualness or animalisticness, like I don't know, just like, or aggressiveness. Like his arm fell off and then he's just like, huh? Like he just like doesn't do any, like it's like I'm completely disarmed, literally.
Yeah. I mean, he's still a super soldier. He just doesn't have one arm.
I don't know. I would like to see that part of his character come back. Where like, I mean, this dude's a warrior. Like,
I think this is a hard scene to do that though, because he was reluctantly, fighting.
No, for sure.
Like, but I get what you're saying.
I think like it was just an example of that kind of applied. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, the look on his face he's also in a little. He was just like,
yeah, I'd say he's also in a little bit of shock. I mean, like his arm just falls to the ground. He didn't even know they could do that.
Sure, yeah, good point.
But no, yeah, it's definitely pretty crazy. So like,
it reminded me a lot of the Kill Bill. What is that sequence that she's like trying to learn that she kills Bill with at the end? Spoilers. I can't remember what it's called, but that whole like hand like press quick movement that they do on the arm reminded me of that.
No.
Yep.
So what do you think, Chris? Like when we went through, I mean, that whole battle scene, just like of John Walker just getting taken down, like I don't know. To me, and I was watching it with Kelly, and she was like, "Oh, it's so awesome!" Like just the sheer, I don't know, fighting style and what they were doing there.
Yeah, I liked seeing him just ill-prepared, overwhelmed, just not going to be able to win that fight. I really liked them like kind of just taking that shield from the end, like, it's mine now. Like, I give it back.
I find it a little. I don't know. Maybe this is something where, like, again, like I'm kind of ruined by the whole Zack Snyder thing, but like, just the fact that like they're letting this guy go out on these government missions against all these super soldiers and enhanced people when he's just like this dude who's like, I don't know. It's just a little weird to me. I still feel like I'm kind of like coming to grips with the fact that like,
well, he has a partner, so
yeah.
Yeah, and I think some of that with John Walker. I mean, it's just like you've got this other. Is it the GSC? I've got it in my notes somewhere.
GSP. He's in the other episode.
No, the group here. It's in my other set of notes that I didn't put in here, but I mean, it's essentially kind of like the Sokovia Accords, right? Like at this point, everybody's come back in the blip. They're kind of coming through and helping all the different governments. So it's almost like they're giving him full on power to do anything. And so it's almost like he's using that a little bit too much, which is probably another just kind of side effect, right? Of, giving him all this power and him not really knowing how to use it. So,
right.
We may see more of that now because we're going to see some.
Yeah. I mean, if
that last scene.
If it gets paid off, then that's great. That's just something that I've noticed is like, it's weird to me that he's like just this dude, like regular dude, kind of like trying to track down this super soldier army. Yeah. Like, what are you going to do, man?
Got the shield. So
yeah, he can throw it around. We know that.
He is proficient with the shield at times.
Dome Zemo and not do anything else with it.
I love in this fight how Zemo's just like standing there, like
Just calmly.
eating something or something. Just like, I'm gonna just sit out.
He's the best.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of what happened to like even Bucky too. Like after their little interaction, he's just kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna let you guys do your thing. And pretty much show him that he's not good. And Brandon mentioned it earlier too, like the fact that, you know, he calls out the fact like with Battlestar a little bit later, Hoskins, where he's just like, yeah, they just took us down and they're not even super soldiers, right? They're just, you know, trained fighters or whatever. And I do like the fact that, you know, these are the top guards, the King's guards of Wakanda. So like it makes sense that they're this, you know, strong or proficient, you know, in what they're doing. But I definitely felt like kind of to Brandon's point, like and what you guys were saying, like Bucky is a super soldier. He is like at the same level Captain America is. So you figure like he would have put up a little bit more of a fight in there. But I get what you're saying too, Chris. Like him and Io have all this background history, so it's not like he really wants to hurt her.
Yeah,
So,
he wasn't even like trying to get involved at all. He was almost like laughing, like, "Oh, you're in trouble." And then he, you know, kind of gets roped in and seemed like he's just trying to like, all right, stop.
Yeah. So, and then you guys mentioned it, but like when she puts the shield up, like I just thought that was a really cool scene where she kicks the shield just like, you know, Captain America did. And I do kind of think that was a little bit of a callback of the shield's made out of vibranium, and you know they're in all the other movies too, like even you know Age of Ultron and things like that. Like they're trying to collect all the vibranium to bring back to Wakanda because it's their resource. So it's almost like a small nod to like, all right, we're gonna take this back, but then you know it's like no, just leave the shield.
Did they ever address the repairing of the shield? Wasn't it broken in game?
This is the shield that Captain America comes back. Old Steve.
That's right. Okay. Yeah.
Sam. So
gotcha.
Yeah. So and then he.
I've only seen in game once.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So
Brandon's the comic relief in this show.
So we'll see kind of what happens with the shield. I know there's some fan theories floating around right now that in some of the new trailer clips that came out, the shield that John Walker's holding actually has different details on the shield than the current one that we're seeing. So there's a potential maybe there could be two shields at some point within here. Again, it could just be camera angles, lighting, and stuff.
Could be Mephisto.
He could have created a new shield from his shards, just like he created the.
I'm thinking,
you know, Billy and Tommy.
Maybe some Joseph Campbell references. Maybe. Don't know.
Maybe.
Kryptonian script.
Maybe.
So we kind of, again, we had a lot of that going on. You saw Zemo kind of slip out. So it'll be interesting to see where, you know, his arc's going to go now. And, you know, potentially, you know, show back up, or we kind of lose him for a little bit. But then we kind of got into the whole dark Captain America, right? So we had the whole part where they're setting him up. So Sam and Bucky are meeting with Carly to kind of talk to her and figure things out. We've got, you know, the John Walker and Hoskins kind of getting sent a different way. And then we see them, you know, attack John Walker. And this is after the fact he's got the serum. He's had the conversation about, you know, would you take it? And it was like, yeah, definitely would. So, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts first with, I'm going to ask the question because it's everywhere over the internet right now. The argument of, has he taken the serum yet? Yes or no?
I just assumed it was obvious. Maybe he hasn't, but I felt like he was like kind of like losing his mind there when he was running out at the end. Like he was like twitching and stuff. Like
I thought that they like acknowledged that he did, but I only watched
that. So people online are saying that they don't think he has yet.
That's what I've seen. I've seen a couple different people. Like, again, I agree with you guys. I thought it was pretty obvious. Like when the guy hits him with a pipe and he bends it, and then Bucky runs into him, he's like, what did you do? But I've actually seen multiple articles of them saying like, did he actually take it yet or not?
These
So
are probably the people that wrote those Mephisto articles in the middle of WandaVision. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how. I mean, I don't know how
He
else.
took it.
Yeah, I don't know how else.
Yeah.
He's like walking through that building at one point, and he's like bugging out with his eyes, like something's going on. But yeah, I mean the pipe thing.
Like, how strange would all of that be if we didn't see him pick up that vial? You're like, what is happening right now?
Right.
Is he a vertigo?
Hey, he did throw that shield around pretty good in the first
Pick up
episode.
Bucky's arm too.
Yeah.
So we had him again. We're all going to assume he took that, and we see Battlestar get killed. Right. So Carly comes in there. She really shows off her strength, hits him, sends him flying, hits up against the column and dies there. So I'm kind of curious with you guys. Like, do you think that he needed a further arc? Do you think that this is too soon to just be like, all right, well, here's your best friend. We don't know much about him. He's dead. And now
I'm your best friend.
Get crazy.
So this one was weird for me because obviously we see him die and there's the whole thing and the outrage, but then doesn't it kind of like kick back to him and he like, I don't know, did it show him breathing or was it just like a random shot of him dead again? I couldn't tell if they were trying to show like, oh, maybe he pulled through.
I don't know. I didn't pick up on
I don't
that.
know.
Maybe he's dead.
I thought
either way, I
he
don't
was
care.
dead.
Yeah.
I think, so Britt, you weren't able to join us when we did our review of part 3 of Zack Snyder's Justice League, but
Are you gonna talk about
I
the
mentioned
Atlantean thing?
I mentioned in that sequence how the gruesomeness and the blood helped just like kind of, I guess put an exclamation point on that death. That's where I feel like this could have benefited from something like that, even though I guess they're not going to go there because of the Disney element maybe, but because him getting flung up against that column, it didn't seem like he would die from it. But if it had that extra element of like, gore, it'd be like, shoot.
Yeah, it would. It definitely would have helped like erase any question marks that he had at the end. Well, and I don't know, maybe it was intentional that they didn't do that or that they left it that way. I don't know, but
because I guess there is always the possibility, right, that maybe they bring him back or whatever.
I don't know what the rules are with blood because later we'll talk about it. They do have blood in the show.
That's true. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe they can only have so much, and then they'd use their quota in the next scene.
How many quarts do you think it is?
Blood quota. Yeah.
So I mean, it's a good segue, kind of going into this next scene where he sees him dead. He goes
berserker mode.
Yeah, we knew it was going to happen.
Before you do this, I do have one question. Did you guys feel like when this guy died, thanks, Brandon. Did you guys think like really feel for John Walker at this point? Like I just felt like there wasn't enough development between those two to really I don't know, warrant like any kind of like emotional reaction from the audience other than like a guy died.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm just not sympathetic to him in general. So, I don't really care.
Yeah. Brandon's like, I really haven't watched the show, guys. I'll be honest.
Brandon, did you think this was an authentic representation of roid rage?
Ask Ryan. He has experience with steroids.
Do I?
Come on, man.
All natural, baby. All natural.
Look at them traps.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
the audience cannot see Brandon's calves, but they are huge.
Yep.
Brandon's known to linger around the calf press at the gym.
So I think to that question though, like, and that was kind of one of the other points I was kind of hinting at too, is like we see the character throughout, and so it's almost like you're supposed to feel bad, but honestly, to kind of Brandon's point, like I don't think there's any remorse to John Walker specifically. But I think if maybe they would have spent a little bit more time with Hoskins to show like maybe he was, I don't know, not fit or something to be in that. And like he's kind of like, why would you take him in there and then maybe feel bad just for him specifically of being in
Was
the
it Hoskins? He had a hero name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like in the first episode or whatever, like where Sam's friend kind of gets beat up and take down. Like he's just, I'm in the army. I'm trying to help out where I can help out. I'm young, and I just, was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I feel like they should have maybe done the same thing with Hoskins, but I agree. Like by giving him a name, a suit, and all of that, like, and even on the truck scene, like not to say he did much.
He was just kind of like a
least,
sounding board.
Yeah,
like it wasn't like really any like relationship building or anything, like sympathy building, or I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a good question though. Like I think that's probably a miss in the fact that there's probably a couple ways they could have made it feel a little more impactful. But yeah. And so, from that, right? So like that happens, he goes crazy. He's chasing them down. And you're really seeing at that point, right? You're really seeing the power of, oh, okay. So now if this serum did get out, right? If they did make soldiers that were more on that psychotic side of the house, how bad it could get. So, from that scene, I mean, like, what are you guys' thoughts on that? To me, that was just like super shocking that they went there. But, I don't know. Like, what do you think?
I was waiting for a decapitation. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
That's what I was hoping for.
Turned it.
I think we even talked about that in our group text thread. Like Snyder would have did this, he would have totally decapitated that guy. But this is my favorite. This is my favorite shot that I pulled. Told you not to disturb me when I'm cleaning my room. It's total Officer Doofy from Scary Movie.
And again, when we talk about foreshadowing, right? Nico said he always looked up to Captain America. His last scene was looking up to Captain America, bashing his head in.
Yeah. I love that there's people recording it in the background too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's going to be like crazy to see where that, goes. And again, I feel like Falcon and Winter Soldier has definitely done a lot of nods to what's going on in the world. Like we've already seen a lot of the racial profiling and things like that. And this is just another one of those episodes
police brutality kind of a thing.
Yeah. Like
I really want that. So one thing that I've noticed in these Marvel shows is like they end these episodes very, cliffhangery or whatever. And I always want them to like pick up right. Like I would love to see this episode pick up like from this moment exactly.
Who's the director that does that?
Do what?
That like actually picks up where he left off.
Do
you have anyone in mind?
He would have gone back and showed a different perspective of this whole sequence.
Okay.
But anyways,
we may get some cell phone footage, with or without a mustache,
right?
So.
But like, I don't know. What I don't want to have happen in the next episode is them like time jump too far. Yeah, where like I don't know. I would like to see like kind of the immediate like reaction of this happening.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Captain America, did you ever fight a hippo?
You guys also think it's strange that given that there's a confirmed super soldier army, basically that's like on the move, destroying things and growing, that they haven't sent anyone else in but Captain America. This like underpowered Captain America. Like there's actual superheroes like to be like, all right, you're done. Like you could even get like
actually supposed to be there,
or
right?
Hulk to just be like, all right, let's just calm down and grab everybody.
Like they're not even supposed to be there, right? Sam and Bucky, like they're just there on their own.
Like I get it in movies to where it's like you don't have the other people that exist because it's like something just kind of happens and like they're the hero is dealing with it. But with a show like this, where like we're seeing time progression and we're seeing like official dispatches and everything, it's just it strikes me as odd compared to when you see it done in movies.
And I think that's kind of like that's a Marvel curse in a way.
Yeah.
Like
For sure.
And so like Thor Dark World struggle from that, right? Like literally the world is about to end and it happened over several days and it was only Thor trying to defeat these
Britt,
guys.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I could not tell you one thing about that movie, and I watched the whole thing. I don't know what it was about. I don't remember any of it.
It's been a while. It's been a while for me too,
Yeah.
and that's one of the few movies
there's a
of
cave.
Marvel. I've only watched once, so but again, I think like Marvel in general, like once they created the Avengers and they all came together, like all of Phase 2 struggled with the fact that you had these solo movies again where nobody helped anybody, and it was always whether it was a U.S. threat or a global threat, and we only saw one. And I feel like I don't know if it's just the fact that this happened kind of somewhat after the snap. You know, again, timing is a little fuzzy in some of these shows. I know there's some videos out there that actually tell you like, here's when this happened, here's when Far From Home happened, but like it's kind of, I think, still a little fuzzy of where, you know, the different heroes or whatever.
I just think this one's tougher for me because like if you look at WandaVision, it makes sense because it's like, okay, you know, it's being kept under wraps, it's kind of a contained thing, like you can see that maybe the word's not out, but with this it seems to be like everybody knows who the Flag Smashers are. Like, they know who they are. Apparently, they know where they are. You know, they're sending people out, but they're sending normal dudes out, and just two of them with a shield and a 1911.
I mean, you at least have like War Machine and a few other people. Like we've already seen James Rhodey in the series, so like he could be leading some other armies somewhere, right? So I totally get that. So
just a nitpick.
Yeah. No. I'm curious though. I'm curious as they go through if we're gonna like potentially hear some of that in kind of episode 5 and 6. Maybe they.
How many do we have left?
Explain it. We've got 2 left.
Okay, and there's a confirmed season 2.
There's not a confirmed season.
Okay.
2. There is. I think it was Sebastian Stan saying he wants a season 2, but I don't think
he's
there's
been tied up doing Luke Skywalker.
That's right. You better be. Come on, man.
Yeah, there's
God.
and I don't know if you guys saw it, but they just dropped like maybe within the last hour or two, they dropped kind of the behind the scenes teaser for Hawkeye, saying streaming soon. So at the end of that one, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, like again, Hawkeye could also fit within this time frame.
I know. So. Could have been.
So it'll be
out there. You were looking at a potential stand-in for Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye, and he turned it down. Big shot over here.
Yeah. Got to be able to walk away, right?
I mean, I like the big league.
Yeah,
smart.
Yeah,
make him come back with a better offer. I get you.
Yeah, still waiting.
Yeah.
So we had kind of that.
I'm an Academy Award nominated.
I'm an Academy Award nominated extra.
Yes, I am.
Did some of the stunts.
I did do some illegal stunts.
Have you sent them your reel?
I'll get to it. It's short. They should be able to see it all.
Just put it on loop.
Play. Oh.
So the other thing I liked about that though, like the scene where you got, you know, John Walker with a shield up like that, like it's a direct callback to Civil War. Again, you guys are talking about how Civil War is greatest movie. But it's one of those things where Steve was in the same situation with Tony and Iron Man, right? When Tony had blown off Bucky's arm, and when Cap's fighting him, like he pulls the shield up just like that, and then chooses not to, you know, finish him essentially. So I thought that was another kind of. I think there's a lot of little callbacks like that to those movies, and I'm loving how they're doing it very subtly, and really showing you like this is the difference. This is why he's not Steve Rogers. This is why he's not the real Captain America, because he's going to make that decision that, you know, you shouldn't. Which goes back to the original Captain America when Steve's going through the process. Like he's like, you know, I know you're a good soldier, but you need to be a good man. It's not about being a good soldier. Whereas we had that same call out when Hoskins is talking to him. And he's like, yeah, I mean, if you take the serum, like you're a good soldier. You have 3 medals of honor. Like all it's going to do is make you more of what's inside. Right. And so we already saw that with Red Skull. Like he took the serum and complete opposite of what Steve Rogers, turned out. So, from that, I mean, you mentioned, Ryan, like you want to see them kind of pick it up right there. Like we want to see opening scene of the next one, the aftermath as they're doing it, not necessarily, all right, now we've got 2 months later, he's been on the run, whatever may or may not happen. Right. So, I mean, what are your thoughts, Chris? Like coming from this episode, what are you kind of looking forward to in the next episode?
I'd like to see more of the fallout with John Walker. And I want more Zemo. Just get me on the Zemo.
Yeah.
You want him to come back.
Turkish delights
I'll
and
second
supremacy
that.
monologues. But yeah, the John Walker fallout and him kind of being a bad guy. I'd like to see that.
How about you, Brandon? What would make this bring you back?
Zack Snyder's Justice League too.
If Batman came in.
Yeah.
What do I want to see?
Yeah. Like,
Brandon, how would Batman handle the Flag Smashers? What would his contingency plan be?
You'd pay him off, right? And tell him to do something else.
Where are you? Here.
Here.
You can copy my answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Gotcha.
I mean, I would like to see kind of it pick up immediately, the fallout, to how, like, if they're able to kind of do any sort of like PR, control of this.
Like the boys situation.
A lot of people were comparing this to Homelander.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's not as wet, like earned.
I'm sorry, but this show doesn't touch The Boys. Doesn't even come close.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it's different type of show, but
yeah.
Even in the same world.
But yeah, I mean, that is. I'll be honest with you guys.
Please do.
I hadn't even considered that he had already taken the serum until you guys mentioned it.
Brandon, did you type some things on the internet? Was this you?
Those are his articles.
I haven't typed anything about Falcon and the Winter Soldier on the internet.
Yeah,
it's been on the other side of the pond for that one.
Amazing.
As you can tell.
Now I need to go back and watch the episode when we started talking about that. And Brandon's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, you'll see it.
Yeah.
It's there. So I'm about to go back and rewatch that, because like we were saying earlier, like him wielding the shield, throwing it around, like that wasn't really, to me, anything new. I guess him jumping out the window and landing on the car, maybe. And then I don't even remember the pipe thing.
Yeah, you see that, and then you do see when he gets in there and he throws the shield, like it literally goes into the wall rather than just
like
kind of bouncing off the wall.
Yeah, I do remember that.
So there's little nods to it, and I think there's, again, after the pipe and stuff happens.
I just thought that was like the power of the shield or something. I don't know.
Killed the Super Soldier with those bare hands.
Freaking Zack Snyder fans, am I right?
Yeah.
And then and then you get the Bucky reference of what did you do? Like just kind of mentioning it.
That's true. Granted, I'll be honest. I watched this at like midnight, waiting on Ryan to get on the vodka stream. So I wasn't in the best state of mind. So
yeah. So we've got and so
Britt, what are you looking forward to?
I'm really looking forward to just seeing like I mean, not necessarily the fallout. Like I want to see the fallout, but definitely want to see, Sam and Bucky get the shield back. I think, even though I think we would all love Bucky to be Captain America, it's definitely going to be Sam, the way they're foreshadowing it and setting it up.
No, it's gonna be Bucky. I'm gonna hold on to that until it doesn't.
Could be Zemo.
Yeah, or Zemo.
Could be.
Be fine with that.
But yeah, I mean, like
it's gonna be Sharon Carter.
So, I'm really looking forward to just seeing, like, we've got 2 episodes left, kind of where I want to see where the series kind of ends, right? If Sebastian Stan's already saying like, let's have a season 2, then he knows there's not a movie, right? Like there's not another, as of right now, there's not another Captain America movie kind of, being slated. So this may be,
or is there, and that's what we're going to find out.
Maybe.
Mephisto.
Maybe.
They're going to pull a Book of Boba Fett on us.
Yeah.
Could be. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of open ends. So there's a couple things, and I know just like we did with the WandaVision, we don't want to super speculate on a bunch of stuff, but I do want to get some thoughts.
But we're gonna.
I want to get some thoughts and opinions on this. And I brought it up when we were texting.
Well, they have been teasing a major reveal. Hopefully, this is not another Paul Bettany misdirect.
Maybe it'll just be a flashback that we've already seen before, like taken out of Captain America. It'll just show Steve Rogers. Like, oh, okay.
So there is this whole speculation that we're going to get a big name actor who's, I think there's two different tweets in it, and essentially it's a big cameo coming. It's somebody who has famously played a superhero that is not part of the MCU. Is what
Christian Bale.
He is actually already slated to be in the MCU. So
I know,
a different movie.
The reveal.
Oh, in this one,
yeah.
So I don't know. I mean,
Ben Affleck.
Like, there's a few we could see. We could see Daredevil, not Ben Affleck's Daredevil, but we could see Charlie Cox coming back. Because if you think about it right now,
I'm all in.
And again, I don't know if it'll happen because, well, all right. So he's being teased already in the Spider-Man movie, but if you think about right now, you guys
by the internet.
PR. Well, yeah, but we got PR going right now, right? Like John Walker just did all of this. Like we're gonna need PR. we're gonna need PR. John Walker just killed someone right in front of everybody's cameras, right? There's most likely going to be some kind of trial that has to happen, either with him or there's going to be a trial with Bucky and Sam for breaking out.
I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to stop you right there. Okay. You always have these great theories.
I know.
And they never work out.
They need to call me.
It's always disappointing because these shows just they miss the landing completely because your theories pump things up. Your theories are always like so much better than what they end up doing.
Britt, you got to start underselling us.
No. Yeah. So I mean, this is just a thought.
What you got in mind? I know you have your favorite.
I love where you're going.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
It could be. So here's the other thing: is if it's not Charlie Cox, they could do the same storyline and go with She-Hulk, right? So she's getting a series later anyway. So technically, she hasn't been in the MCU yet, and she could go down that route because she's also a lawyer.
As a major actor, though, right?
Yeah, but she's
Tatiana Maslany is not major. She's
okay.
She's been minor actress. As far as notoriety, like nobody knows who she is really.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be her either. I think
we're basing all of this on like what a Reddit thread. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's based on. I mean, the showrunner. The showrunner said it. So in an interview. But
me and Chris are looking at each other laughing.
We've already got
waiting for Brandon
with Paul Bettany. So I don't know. I mean that wasn't the one I was going for.
Which one? The She-Hulk or the Charlie Cox?
No, just the potential character that may be making a cameo. Really, it could be anybody. There's a lot of other cool speculations that are most likely inaccurate.
He's in the universe.
Another one that somebody threw out there that I saw is potentially William Dafoe as the Green Goblin. So the green. So
yeah,
Osborn creates the Dark Avengers.
I know.
We're just talking, man. So I don't know, like Osborn creates the Dark Avengers, which has a lot of these characters we're seeing right now, but won't happen. So you never know.
Yeah.
We'll see. The one I was
I
gonna
really
ask
hope he's
about,
in the Spider-Man
Tom
movie,
Hardy.
maybe.
Because some Thunderbolts.
But then-
I mean,
But
I would
would
love
you-
any of that.
Yeah.
I would.
but you hate it.
though. Guys, hear
I
me
think
out.
that- I
Paul
think that-
Bettany.
I think the Charlie Cox one is
White
the
Vision
most like
comes out.
with the trial stuff. I can see that playing out, but I don't. I mean, I don't know. I
Is
don't
he
know.
that big of an actor?
No, he's
This
not.
is
But
just-
again,
this show is just so like government and like, yeah, there's the super soldier element, but it's just not as like out there as I don't know, like the She-Hulk thing, or like I feel like it's gonna be like a semi-grounded character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a-
I agree. That's
I don't know.
where like I could see Daredevil coming into the universe at some point. I think right now may be too early, even though Marvel did just get the rights back from Netflix and everything. They did announce in the Hawkeye show they're bringing in Echo. So Echo is a deaf superhero that has a relationship with Daredevil. So I don't know. I mean, again, I think it's hyping up thinking someone like that may be too much right now for this series, because we also have to remember this series was filmed, or a lot of it was filmed pre-COVID time, right?
Could
And
they-
just
could
kind
this-
of a little bit.
Could the cameo, and I know it didn't fit all the criteria, but like the most logical cameo for this show seems like it would be Chris Evans. Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know, somehow.
But
Go ahead.
but then it would be like old
old
Cap.
Would he be old
Yeah.
Cap?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but like it seems like that's kind of like the main theme of this whole show is like he's.
I would
not,
love-
doesn't feel like he's.
I
Good
would
enough
love to
be-
see old Cap Joe Biden going berserker in a
I love that video
Members only
of-
jacket.
sequence.
from Endgame where they like it was like a behind the scenes video of him like throwing a football or something. You guys seen that?
I didn't see that.
So great. He's just like moving really young, but he's just
Yeah.
got this old face on.
It's like the exact opposite of De Niro in The Irishman. He's like
Yeah.
trying to be young, but he's so old in his movements.
Yeah.
That was something we did see in the House of M comics. Was they painted everything different, and you saw the old as if he had gone back. Steve Rogers, and they're like, "Wow, we can't bother this guy. He's old. He's not what he used to be, and he's like lived the life. We can't take him from it." So if they're trying to play with anything from WandaVision, I mean, you kind of have that snippet of maybe getting just a quick glimpse and then doing nothing with it.
Yeah, I was trying to look over the cast to see about. I mean, you also still have this potential storyline that they did with Isaiah, and his grandson turns into Patriot in the Young Avengers, right? So, and that's a easy setup they're already working towards in the series. So it could be something like that. I don't know. I mean, again, I would love some of the theories I've seen just all sound like they'd be awesome, but I do think it's just gonna be kind of like some random character, whether it's and the whole like them not being in the MCU right now, I think throws a wrench into a bunch of it, because another obvious one would just be Ross, like Agent Ross coming in and making a big deal there. So
For some reason, I thought Ross was supposed to be in this show, or has he been in this show? And I just forgot.
I don't believe he has been, because I believe in that whole section where they're giving the shield up, you just see Rhodey instead of him.
Okay. So, Britt, are you saying that the showrunner said that it wasn't an MCU alum?
That
Or
is
was
what I
that
saw.
Okay.
So he has not made their appearance in the MCU, but that doesn't necessarily mean so. Like Daredevil is not in the MCU, right? Being again the reason why people are going towards Charlie Cox. Technically, I mean, I know this wouldn't be it, but Chris mentioned like Tom Hardy. Like technically, Venom is not in the MCU right now, even though he is in the Sony universe. So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different characters it could be, and I'm curious what we'll kind of see coming out of that. But there's another one that's kind of floating around right now with
It's so good.
so and Steve Rogers does make sense. Like Sam's questioning, maybe he goes back, because it's not obvious yet if Steve Rogers is no longer with us, or if he's just kind of retired and hanging out somewhere, right? Like we saw him as old Cap, but this isn't that far beyond that. So it could be, it could be Chris Evans kind of popping back in. But I also feel like we would have seen more of that when he gave up the shield and stuff, right? Like him going to him and talking like, hey, this isn't me or whatever.
But was this show a thing before when those movies were made?
Yes. So it was being recorded after Endgame. Is that what you're asking?
But like, I guess what were you saying? I was just saying, like, are you saying that material from Endgame would have been explored further?
No, I'm just saying, like, if Steve Rogers was the person in episode 5, and it's like the sequence is like, all of this happening, and like Sam going back to Steve Rogers and be like, hey, this dude did this. He's got your shield. How do I take it back from him or whatever it is, right? Or do I deserve the shield? I feel like that would have already been explored earlier in the series.
I also feel like it'd be weird not to see Bucky hanging out with him.
Well, I don't know. I guess I'm just more of like, it could be like at a tipping point where like he needs just like that little, like a climax where he needs that little push to like accept it. I don't know. Just seems like the easiest fit. Which means it may not be the case. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely think it's probably high on the list. And the last little question I got for you guys. So we've heard the name the Power Broker a bunch throughout this series. Any thoughts on who the Power Broker could be? Because I know, again, a bunch of those kind of floating around.
Steve Rogers.
How about you, Chris? Any thoughts around the Power Broker so far?
I mean, I've seen a lot of theories with it being Sharon Carter. I just don't really care either way, and I haven't thought about it.
Yep.
I don't know. I haven't thought into it.
I'll bet you. Yeah, that's not a bad. That's not a bad guess there.
Yeah, like Sharon Carter was the one I texted you guys about the whole like iPhone villain thing. So in her scene, she's not using an iPhone, whereas again, Sam and those guys are using iPhones. So to kind of throw it out for anybody listening or watching this afterwards, during Knives Out, during the interview, the director mentioned that Apple told him, or it's a stated rule for Apple that villains cannot use an iPhone. So doesn't mean if you don't use an iPhone, you're a villain, but it does mean if you're using an iPhone, you can't be a villain.
But in real life.
So,
green bubbles.
So, I think another potential would be Ross. He essentially had the other set of the serum when he was messing with Abomination before. And it's Blonsky is the name of that guy. Turns into the pseudo Captain America into Abomination. So if he already had serum before and he's wanting to experiment with it, he could be over that. So, but I don't know. And which could lead into the cameo of it potentially being him as well. Even though it doesn't meet all the criteria. But again, Marvel's already messed with us one time with 2 different cameos in WandaVision. So
too true.
So we never know. But yeah, so again, I think that, as far as the series overall, I think they're doing a really good spot with giving us more backstory, building kind of a side thing. And it's, to me, becoming obvious, just like WandaVision, like this isn't going to affect the next couple movies that are coming out, right? We're not introducing big bad villains. But I am curious where they're going to go with Zemo. Zemo has a lot of potential.
Wasn't this
in the future
what if it's like a Black Widow tie-in? What if it's like her sister, whoever she is? Isn't that what's the
that could be
what the Pugh? What's the girl's name?
Florence
Pugh.
Yeah,
her character.
there's
because I thought that for some reason I thought that the reason why like this one was supposed to come out after Black Widow because of those reasons originally.
Well, originally it was slated to come out afterwards. The timing is a little different, but it does introduce Taskmaster, which is potentially part of the Thunderbolts and that kind of stuff, which is what Zemo's group is later. So yeah, there could be some tie-ins. And I know I mentioned it earlier and I forgot to kind of come back to it, but there was also a sub plot line about viruses in this show that got cut out. So if you remember in the truck when they're like, oh, they've got vaccines and all of that, there's like a whole subplot which leads into Carly's mentor dying from the virus. But hence what happened the last year, we don't know how much of that was actually cut out and if that would have actually affected the story or not as well. But yeah, I mean, that's a good call. You're talking about Yelena on from Black Widow, her being her sister, of potentially having some tie-in, maybe showing up as well. Because I guess technically she's not in the MCU as well right now, but will be in a few months. So it's a good one.
Or it's David Harbour's character. Or yeah, I don't know.
Yep.
Guess we'll find out.
Yep.
Cut to next week. Let's see if we're excited or not about it. Is it supposed to happen in the next episode, or is it the finale?
It's the next episode. So episode 5 is when the cameo was stated to happen, and then we've got 6. After that. As far as what we've seen so far in trailers, like first trailers, not the one that just dropped the other day, but
you watch, it's going to be like Jimmy Woo or something.
hopping back in. But we still need to see, Sam and Bucky wielding the shield, right? And training with the shield, because that was in the very first trailer that came out and we haven't seen it yet.
The tree.
Yeah. So that's either going to be episode 5 or 6 of them taking that shield back and working towards being, Captain America. So maybe even if Bucky doesn't get the outfit, we can see him throw that shield around a little bit, right?
So everybody knows he's Captain America.
Okay, so here's another question. Sorry, Ryan. What'd you say?
No, you're good. I'm just.
So if they are teeing up Sam to become Cap, like we were saying with Walker, him not being a super soldier and being Cap is a little weird. Will they do that with Sam? Will Sam become super soldier, or will he just be normal?
Everybody takes the serum. Zemo takes it. Sam takes it.
In the in the comics, he doesn't necessarily take the serum. So I don't expect him to take it, but I think that was always my kind of hesitation of Sam being Captain America over Bucky. Is that instance, right? Like there's more to just the fact of I wear the shield and stand for something.
Will he still have his wings?
He does in the comics. So he has the shield plus the wings. So I did like and I know we didn't mention this, but I did like some of the fight scenes in this one with Sam like on the ground against Carly and the other Flag Smashers using like the jet engine pack while he was fighting. So
it was like a little weird for me because it was almost like he just like turns and like waits and throws and goes like, oh. It was almost like the Boba Fett kind of like lean over with the rocket thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I just like that it's showing that he's a little more resourceful. Yeah, I agree. It did seem like, all right, why didn't you use that? Just like when you're getting in fights. And he's trying to go after Zemo, or going after John Walker, like he could have just flown away. But
yeah.
So, but yeah, that's what I had in my notes. I mean, essentially, I think the episode overall was good. I feel like this was, especially with the ending scene, right, was kind of better than what we've seen going into it, and it kind of draws you in to see where that next step is. A little bit of
wait to see where
shock.
they're headed.
Gotta show it one more time. Oh, he's so goofy.
All right, gents. Well, I think that kind of wraps up the 4th episode review. So we'll be back next week to review episode 5. Talk about that awesome cameo. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Maybe it's Pietro coming
Yeah.
in.
Don't. Too
That's
soon.
Ralph Boner, bro. And we also, just to remind everybody, we've got a part-by-part review of Zack Snyder's Justice League series going on right now. Also, the third part will be up tomorrow. Britt, go ahead and plug your Twitch stream.
Yeah. So again, twitch.tv/defaultdan. We talk kind of nerdy stuff in the background, but stream some Disney mobile games. Starting to stream a couple other little things here and there. So definitely check it out Mondays, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Nice.
Suck up.
Nice. Chris, your booze all over. She's been in the whole time.
No, she hasn't.
She heard you talking to the other room. It's like, oh, we're ending. Let me get in there.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Chris is done.
Yeah.
She knows.
Everybody hit that subscribe button, notification bell, so you stay up to date on everything that all the content we're putting out. And obviously give us a follow at CAPECAST Show on Twitter. Like we mentioned, we're on there all the time. So guys, Chris, Britt, Brandon, I think that about does it for the evening. Anybody else have anything else they want to add? One last thing, Brandon? No Army of the Dead talk. Okay,
well,
we could talk
about
Army of the Dead, but Chris, do you want to jump?
I got to jump.
Okay,
it's been lovely, gentlemen.
All
Next
right.
time.
He's trying to avoid the trailer, so we can talk about Army of the Dead. All right, now that he's gone, Britt,
did you see the trailer?
Have you watched it?
I have seen the trailer. So I'm gonna say though, I haven't seen the old stuff. So because this is a remake, correct?
No.
Or am I dumb?
This
I'm thinking of a different movie then. Okay.
No,
This
what you
is
think
his
like
own
Dawn
thing.
of the Dead or
Oh, maybe so.
Day of the Dead?
Now I just lost all my credit.
Snyder
here,
did do.
so-
No, that's cool.
Yeah,
It's not set. It's not set in that same universe or anything. It's just I'm sure there'll be homages to it because Snyder did do a remake of Dawn of the Dead. But
there'll be homages to everything Snyder's done. He had the Omega symbol on a guy's chest in this. The Snyder cut is actually in the vault where they break into. But yeah, so Brandon, what'd you think of the trailer?
I loved it. It was great. It's a good trailer. I know that. I mean, I was already excited for it. I love Snyder's stuff, and to see him return to this genre was exciting, especially given that Netflix was kind of letting him do what he wanted to do with it, give him kind of free reign, and he hasn't been given that in a while. So, I thought that it's a really cool spin on that genre with them being more sentient. And I thought visually it looks awesome. It doesn't look like it looks big, but it looks more grounded than what he's done as of recent. And you know that I'm not the biggest Batista fan, but that's
an understatement.
That's basically like the Guardians element of Batista. Like I don't mind him, and like I like him in Dune. I thought he was solid in Dune. I mean, he's not in it for a long time, but and then he's like a nothing character. Was it Spectre or which one was he? The Bond,
Spectre.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I'm excited about this movie, and it's like a month away now, or so.
On my birthday,
give or take.
May 21st.
Should come up again.
Maybe.
Stay up and watch it.
Stay up till 3. Stay up till 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Dave, the vodka stream's getting me into shape for doing that every week. It seems like.
There you go.
So I might be all right.
Exactly.
What are your thoughts?
Britt, what'd you think?
So I'll come back to my question, but
No,
but
you did good.
no, I was going to say, and we'll come back to it. But what are your thoughts about just we're seeing more and more of these movies like Netflix is putting money into them, right? Like with this one. So I want to come back to that just to get your thoughts on that. But no, I liked it. Like kind of turning it on first, not necessarily knowing what I was going into. Again, I've already said it. I thought that this was just kind of maybe a remake of an older film just because the title and everything just reminded me of all those in the series that kind of came out. Yeah. And but no, I definitely liked it. I thought it was, when I'm watching, I was kind of confused at first. I'm like, okay, it's a heist. Oh wait, there's zombies. Like what's going on in the first trailer that dropped, right? And then watching this one and everything, like these are the kind of movies where it's not necessarily Kelly's forte. She's not huge into zombies and things like that. But I enjoy these because they're not necessarily like scary movies. They're just like intense action type movies. So I think it looks really good, and isn't just the typical, I don't know, the typical zombies are attacking, or at least it doesn't necessarily look like that. There's a little bit more to it. So
I like that this is not a world where zombies are basically have taken over the entire like planet, so to speak. It's just they're all kind of like quarantined here in Vegas, and they've got it like a perimeter. It seems, at least, that's the case.
It's kind of like the opposite of what we've seen in most all movies, right?
And it seems like there's going to be another little like twist in there as far as how they whether it's like a virus. Some people think it's like an alien origin type thing.
I told my wife earlier after I watched the trailer, I turned around and I was like, well, because full disclosure, I'm just not a zombie movie fan. Never have been. Turned around to my wife and I was like, well, leave it to Zack Snyder to get me hyped up for a zombie movie.
So much so that you went out and bought a new camera lens.
I did. So it's been kind of widely, if following all the Zack Snyder's Justice League stuff, it's kind of been widely known that he shot this movie using the Canon Dream lens, which is basically like it's basically like a hobby lens, but you do some cool, like it has some crazy lens flare, does some weird stuff with light. It's a really hard thing to shoot with, technically, because your focal depth is so shallow. But so when I was watching this trailer, I was just watching it pretty much like from a technical standpoint, because I was just curious about how the lens was going to be used. And like, dude, the like focus racking and stuff in this movie with that lens, there's a couple sequences where it's just awesome. So he shot, this is the same lens, Britt, so it's the same lens that he shot the Nightmare stuff with at the end of
and he's shooting it, so he's the DP on this movie. So
right.
You know what you guys really need, right? You need a little counter
on the pod
down in the bottom of the cast. That every time you say it, you just ding.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good point.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not worth saying. I think it'd be funny to add that.
No, yeah, for sure.
Down there.
I get it. Trust me. We know we've got a problem. We're well aware. But yeah, so it's a lens that I do some photography work just as a hobby, and then I do some for work. And it was a lens that I was considering buying after Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I watched this trailer and I was like, well, gotta buy it. So I'm excited to play with that. But yeah, story wise, I just love like his zombie movies just seem so shallow in general, and this just seems like there's more layers to it than you get from a normal zombie movie, which I'm intrigued by. And then obviously visually, he's just I don't know what the budget was on this movie. Brandon, do you know? Any chance?
For some reason, I think it's like 100 million, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, like he's so dang. He creates stuff that looks so freaking good.
Well, he knows like he gets lumped into like a style over substance type category, but I think a lot of that is just because
style on top of substance.
I agree, but I mean, he just has an eye because he comes from he started out doing commercials and stuff, so that's like where it's a big part of where he began. But
90
he just
million
has such a
budget.
90. Okay, yeah. close. But yeah, it seems like there's going to be, and I think I remember Bautista said that he took this role.
It's a long movie.
148.
Yeah.
Good.
Sorry, what were you saying?
It's good.
Bautista.
No, I know he's been on record saying that, he turned down a role in James Gunn's Suicide Squad to do this movie because he wanted to work with Zach. And also, after reading this script, like, he's been wanting to have a role where he could, like, kind of prove himself more as far as his acting ability. And according to him, this was one of those roles. So we'll see. I'm interested to see if that is the case. I would love for him to impress me.
If he converts you, Brandon, he's converted a lot of people.
Here's the thing. I like him. Like, I like his personality. I like him. Like,
I thought you were going to say you like Dave Bautista movies. So I was like, nah, bro. No, you don't.
No, I enjoy his, like, just him as a person. I don't have any beef with that element. I just, his Drax portrayal it just doesn't agree with my sensibilities. And that could be a James Gunn thing too. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I have it on the calendar. So if anybody is in the Royston area, wants to watch Army of the Dead on the 21st, come on over. Boys Night. And this is a year of Zack Snyder. I'm excited. I mean, it's like we just got an amazing Zack Snyder movie. We're going to get another amazing looking Zack Snyder movie. We'll see how it goes, but I feel like I'm going to be a fan of it. So,
hold on, I gotta show this racking here. Hold on, just take a look at this. It's gorgeous.
Rack ball.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Got another one.
Yeah.
Ooh. It's just awesome. This.
I want to know.
Okay.
I want to know how, because it seemed like, I mean, there are obviously some shots in this trailer that obviously have a lot of CG, like they're blue screen type shots. Mm-hmm. Which is what I felt. You could feel with the nightmare stuff using this this lens. You could tell that it was similar. You could tell it was a green screen type scenario in some of the shots. Some of them look better than others, but a lot of this seems, and maybe it's just because they had more time to do the visual effects on these. A lot of this stuff seems like they were in practical locations, and I'm interested to see this camera in that element versus just what we've seen so far with the nightmare stuff. It being artificial backgrounds and things like that.
There were a lot of context shots in this trailer. Like there's one where I think there were a couple where guys were holding beer bottles and like looking alongside like a trailer where it was very much an environmental shot. It was cool to see the lens kind of work. You can tell they shot a lot of stuff ambient, which was has potential to just be freaking gorgeous with that lens. So we'll see, man.
It's his first movie he shot digitally as well.
Yeah. It's gonna be a fun one.
And that's interesting too, because historically, people that shoot on film, when you shoot on film, it's expensive, and so people that shoot on digitally, David Fincher is known. He's been shooting digital for, I don't know if he's even shot on film before, but anyway, he's notorious for doing like hundreds of takes. And so with that element, I'm wondering if he took that to his advantage in terms of just getting the most out of his performances. Having to worry about
it's interesting to me because I know, like, I would imagine at least he had to do a lot of manual work with this lens. So because that focal depth is so shallow, because there's a lot of like tracking shots, like focus tracking on moving objects. One of the things I was wondering about when I was watching the trailer is like, did in my mind, I was like, how many takes did they have to do for them to like nail the focus like they did on this on this
Well,
shot?
I wonder if they set that up. I'm not as big into this as you are, but I wonder if they have some sort of like device that kind of you set your focal range where you want it to start, where you want it to stop, and when you're pulling it, there's like a mechanism that stops it at that point whenever you're transitioning. You know what I'm saying? Like if there was
so I'm talking about the ones where like you're focused on something that's moving towards you, like, and you're continuing to maintain that focus.
Maintain it. Yeah.
Which he may just be like, it may just be something where he's really good at working the range.
Probably, but I can see him kind of leaning into that being an element of the storytelling where it's like, because he did it a lot with the Joker stuff, where he's just like, he kind of lets it, he's a little loose with it.
Yeah, it's definitely like a softer shot stuff. It's not super sharp. So yeah, that could be something that, I mean, at the end of the day, like if you buy that lens, if you love that lens, then that's kind of what you're trying to do.
Yeah. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention at least the zombie tiger. I mean, that's been all over the internet today. People were losing their minds over the zombie tiger.
Yeah.
So I love that element too. Like having it be Vegas and like the Elvis zombies and the showgirl zombies and all that kind of stuff. It's a really cool, it's just visually with the casino element there, and just it seems like they're using non-Vegas, like real locations for probably, they just didn't want to license the actual like Luxor or MGM and all that stuff, but it's going to be cool to see
the way they describe the zombies. Obviously, like in movies here and there, you've seen like these zombies are more intelligent or whatever, but like
faster,
the organized side of things, like where they show the guy in the middle, he like raises his fist, like I don't know.
It's like Planet of the Apes, but even more elevated because I mean you've got them like falling in love or something, like two of them are like I mean that's an element that we have never seen in zombie movies. They've always just been mindless. I mean, the only thing that they've kind of brought in, like it's like fast zombies versus slow zombies. That's the only thing that you've kind of had in movies, besides like that comedy that came out with Nicholas Hoult years ago. I can't remember
Warm Bodies.
Oh yeah.
That one was a little bit of a different take, but yeah, it's got a big cast too. Like there's a lot. This team is pretty expansive.
It'd be interesting.
It's gonna be interesting to see how Tig Notaro's character is integrated. As far as
I mean, the shots that if they were adding her digitally to some of this stuff, like it's pretty dang flawless.
Well, I mean, that interview that she did, she was like, I felt like I was the star of this movie because they were just shooting her in all these sequences. I assume on a green screen, or I don't know how they're planning on doing it. I don't know how big Dalia's role was in this, but it'll be interesting to see if that's like, if it pulls you out, if it's noticeable, or if it's done well to where it's
like
pretty organic.
Leia episode 9 thing.
Or I don't know if you guys saw that All the Money in the World, the one where they replaced
I have not yet. No.
What's his name? Plumber.
Spacey.
Yeah, Spacey. Yeah.
Did they do it well in that movie or no? Oh,
I remember people saying it was done well, but I didn't see it.
Got it. Well, all right, gents. I'm glad we got to talk about that one.
Yeah. Thanks, Marvin.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up. We appreciate
he showed up early too before we pushed the show.
I know.
Back.
Sorry if that was a miscommunication on our part. We had some last minute scheduling changes.
Yep.
So.
Yep. All right. Well, like I kind of mentioned earlier, our part 3 review of Zack Snyder's Justice League will go up tomorrow on YouTube. Definitely give us a follow at CAPECAST Show on Twitter if you like following all things geek. And then Britt, go ahead and give the old Twitch another plug.
Yeah. So like I said, twitch.tv/defaultdan. We play some Mobile games, usually Disney related, but yeah, a lot of fun over there. Always geeking out.
Nice.
Appreciate you jumping on per usual, Britt, and leading the convo on the Marvel side of things.
No
No
worries.
matter how big of a douche Brandon is about it.
I'll get a counter. If you don't have it, I'll have it on my screen, and I'll just pop it up in the corner.
Yeah.
I can do that. I can do that.
All right. Nice. All right, gents.
Nice.
We will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
All right.
So long.